Hi everyone, my name is Peter and thanks for joining me at the Amplified Warm-Ups YouTube channel. Last summer I posted a video about how our band program had just received a new Yamaha Harmony Director keyboard. I talked about the things that I was excited to try and some of the questions that I had as well. So now I wanted to post a video to follow up on the experience of having taught with it for almost a year. For those of you who may be considering buying a Yamaha Harmony Director, or those of you who already have one but just are interested in some more ideas about how other band directors use it. So I want to talk about two things that have surprised me. I want to talk about my 5 favorite features, and I want to talk about a couple more things that I could see as using if I was in a slightly different context. Now my context is as a middle school band director, and I've mostly used the HD with my 8th grade concert band. So I use that to compare it with your situation to decide if anything that I'm sharing is worthwhile and applicable to your situation. So first of all, 2 things that surprised me about the HD. First, I've heard some say that you really don't need a lot of keyboard skills in order to use the Harmony Director, and I do still agree with that statement to a certain extent. However, I have a lot of experience playing keyboard, and I was surprised at how much those keyboard skills did come into play, and they did allow me to use the Harmony Director much more freely. So I think both statements are true at the same time. If you're a disaster on piano, you probably want to find a different solution. But if you do have even a limited number of keyboard skills, you're probably going to be able to make some use of the Harmony Director. The second thing that surprised me is that there was a feature that I was really excited to use quite a bit, and I ended up using it very little, and that's the pure temperament mode. And what I found was that for someone who's working mostly with young bands, if we can just focus on getting a centered, resonant tone quality and getting that in tune in equal temperament, that's probably 98% of the battle. And then that last 2% where we do want to get into the pure temperament mode, that's going to be almost entirely about detuning that major third. So I would put on pure temperament mode if I was trying to give the best possible model for a chord that we were trying to lock in. But that said, I don't think there's a lot of explanation that needs to go in, at least at the young band level, about what we're trying to do with pure temperament mode. So that was something that I used a lot less than I thought I would. So that surprised me a little bit. But now I want to talk about the 5 features that I did like the most about the HD. So number 5, and I'll work my way toward number 1. Number 5 was the ability to play with different sounds. The HD will be able to emulate just about any instrument in your band, and I did like the ability to select a trumpet sound for playing along with the brass, or if I wanted a more pure sound, I would do an oboe sound, or if I was playing along with the clarinet lesson, to switch to that. And I think that all the emulations, all the different tones in the HD are good models for the band, and they're going to give a wide variety of what a good band can sound like. So I did enjoy much more than I thought I would the ability to select different tones. Feature number 4 that I liked the most was actually the built-in metronome. And this surprised me because we've always had a Dr. Beat next to our podium, and so the HD metronome didn't really add any functionality for us, but it did add a layer of convenience. I liked the controls and how they're laid out. It felt they were just very easy to use, and I wasn't having to manage the volume on another device and risk blowing out the band's ears when I turned the metronome on. I always knew where the volume for the HD was, and so that was really handy to use. My third favorite feature was something that I rarely used, but when I did, it was extremely effective. And I talked about this in the video last summer about how the newer model of the HD has an accompanying app. And in the app, there's a demonstrate mode. And one of the things you can do with that demonstrate mode is show the band exactly what happens when notes are slightly out of tune. And it creates those interference beats. And I only had to do this once or twice because, as it turns out, the band really hates the sound of out of tune notes. So mission accomplished. It worked like a charm. And they heard those interference beats speed up when it got more out of tune and then slow down as it got closer to in tune. It gave them a really clear picture of what we're trying to do when we work toward better intonation. So that was a really great feature. The second most favorite feature, one that I used a lot, was the transpose mode. And as a keyboard player, I can do pretty well at transposing on the fly, but it's super nice just to be able to press the E flat button to play along with the saxes, or press the F button to play along with the horns. And it saves a little bit of brain power and just keeps rehearsal moving that much more efficiently. Now finally, my number 1 most used, most favorite feature, drum roll. It's really simple, the hold button. And it's really amazing. You just press this button, you play your notes, and then you don't have to put your foot down on a pedal. You don't have to hold notes down on the keyboard. You're free to conduct, to listen, to communicate. And it just, if you're gonna have your band playing along with any kind of a drone or sustained sound, it was such a great thing to have. And I use this every single rehearsal. Now, almost everything else that we've talked about to this point, other keyboards or devices can handle, but as simple as it is, this hold button, you're not going to find it on other keyboards, and it's a really, really nice feature that the Harmony Director has that I would have a hard time getting by without at this point. So now I want to talk about two more features that I didn't really use a lot, but I could definitely see myself using a lot if I was in a different context. One is the Metronome can be programmed, and I have a friend who teaches a really fine high school band program, and his favorite feature of the HD is the ability to program meter changes into the metronome and have his band play along with that. Another feature that I think I could really use a lot if I was teaching individual lessons or using it for my own personal practice is something called the Soundback mode. And there's a button right on the keyboard. You just press Soundback mode, and then what it does is you play a note on your instrument. It uses its onboard microphone to detect what note you're playing, and then it will play the in-tune version of that note. And so I think it just takes it to a different level instead of just having a drone where you're trying to match the pitch and you hear the drone first and then you try to match it. When you play a note and then the in-tune version kicks in, you hear how much you need to adjust. It's just that much more effective at teaching you how to match pitch. I was trying to explain it to my son who was playing trombone in this video, and he was a little bit skeptical, but after trying it out, he did realize the value of this. And so I would love to have an HD at home just for my two sons who play trombone to use. I think it would be so valuable. But anyway, those were two features that I could definitely see myself using. So having used the Harmony Director for a year, was it worth the investment? Well, in my mind, that's unquestionably yes. I think my band has made such a big improvement this year in our ability to just sustain pitches with a big resonant sound and play it in tune. And I would definitely make that purchase again. In fact, I'm thinking about maybe trying to get one for our second teaching area. I think that'd be really nice. That said, I don't necessarily think the Harmony Director is for everybody. Different programs have different budgets. You have different things that you're trying to accomplish with your band. And sometimes there are other things that we can use to get some of this functionality without having to invest in this particular unit. So I'm going to do a video that's going to walk through what some of those other solutions might be, including a software version that's going to give you a lot of the major functionality of the Harmony Director, at least a lot of the functionality that I really appreciated about it. And we're going to talk about how you can set that up and if that's the right solution for you or not. So in the meantime, be sure to subscribe for notifications for when those videos come out, and leave a comment below. If you have a Harmony Director, what are the things that you love about it? If you're thinking about getting one, what are some things that you'd be excited to use or things that you kind of have questions about? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.